We are now going to explore place values of whole numbers starting from the hundreds, picking up from where we left off in our first clip. So here we have 100 represented as the shape shown on screen. This is sometimes referred to as a 100 flat, for the obvious reason that this is a flat wooden square. And of course we're using M.A.B once more and assuming you're familiar with them. Up on the right we have hundreds, tens, ones, and showing that we have 100, so a 1 in the hundreds column, and then 0 and 0 for tens and ones, as we don't have any, with them all being glued together to create this 100. So this is the base pattern or basic pattern that we will repeat over and over through our number system, and that we explained in the last clip is the only number pattern that we will ever see. So hundreds, tens and ones, once we've gotten up to 100, we've now seen the pattern that will repeat over and over as we get larger, and we'll unpack that as we go through. So here we start with 100, and of course we can add another 100 and we'll have 200s, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 900, and obviously when we go one more we will have 10 hundreds. And we encounter the same problem. We can't actually put 10 hundreds because we don't have a different symbol for 10, and that we need to have just one digit occupying this column or this place value position. And the reason for that being is that when we have 10 of any type of number or unit, we then need to start combining them. So we're going to start putting these hundreds together because we have 10 of them. And then if we bunch them up enough, we can glue them together to create 1. So now we have 1 instead of 10. So we have 1, 1. But we can't just call it a 1 because we obviously can see on the far right, below the far right 0, we have 0 ones. So we can't have ones again, that would be confusing. So although we have 1, 1, we need to rename it as a new thing. And it is 1000. So this new cube, that is the same shape as the ones we started with, is actually made up of 1000 cubes. And because we've been progressively gluing together these shapes and pieces, we now have another one, but we call them thousands. And this now becomes the beginning of the next series of counting within the number system. So we have just hit ones again, and so we're expecting to hit tens if we keep going larger, and hundreds again. So this hundreds, tens, one pattern will repeat. So you can see I've left a gap there because we tend to group our digits in threes for convenience of reading, as well as mirroring this number pattern that's contained within. And often we'll put a comma there to show that. Now, these ones, of course, are called thousands, and we will call them thousands from here on in. Again, if we were calling them ones, it'd be confusing because they are actually ones of thousands. Now we can keep counting on, and of course, if we got another one of these cubes, we'd have 2000s, or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9000s. And of course, if we got 10 of them, we'd encounter the same issue again. We've got 10,000s, but because we have 10, we need to regroup them by gathering them together. And we can do this by stacking them. And if we gather them all together as shown, and we can glue them together. And here I've shown a photo taken from a classroom that actually has these 10 wooden blocks stacked and glued together. And of course, it looks like a 10 stick because it is a 10 stick. So this is now a 10 that we've created. So if I put that over to the side and label it as a 10, we now have 110. So we have 110 and 0 ones, and 0 hundreds, and 0 tens, and 0 ones. Now when I say 0 ones, of course, one of those is 0 1000s. Now, if we call this by its proper name, yes, it is 110, but it is in fact a 10,000 stick because each one of those cubes is 1,000 block or 1,000 cube. So we have 1 10,000 stick as shown on the screen, so it's 1 10,000. We have 0 thousands. We don't call them ones in the second place value position here because that would be confusing. And then we have 0 hundreds, 0 tens, and 0 ones. Okay, so it's just important. The reason I'm showing you those middle steps is just to show you that we are actually doing tens, ones, hundreds, tens, ones in this current number on screen, but we call them by the next unit up, which are thousands. And of course, just noticing again that the 10 or the 1 0 on the left is separate from the 3 zeros on the right, because this is within the new renumbering or the next lot of hundreds, tens, and ones. And again, we can show that using the comma in between this grouping of 3, although we've only got 2 on the left at the moment.